Good morning, Mark. I did one video on silence, and this video I'll actually explain everything. So we got into the property. This is the front entrance of the property, as you can see. So it's surrounded by beauty, and I'll explain the rest of it when we speak personally. So you walk in through the main door, which would be the living room area. To the left, you'll see the type of fireplace that they created, kind of like a Flintstones, which basically has a flute that goes up into the ceiling, up onto the top. It's just basically made out of rock. It's one of those things you could actually remove because it's taking up too much of the space, which you would utilize. All the windows are double glazed, so that's good. Infiltration inside the house is pretty good. There's no mold. There's some settlement cracks, but nothing that I would worry about. Off the lounge area, you have a room which you could, i.e., make into a bedroom with, again, double glazed windows. It's got security bars. Not that I think anyone's out in this neck of the woods, but it's always nice to be nice. The wiring I would do all over again because it's basically cabled around the walls, but that's up to you. The floor, it's about 15 years old, varnished type of terracotta looking, but in good nick. There's no cracks or anything that I can actually visually see. So that's good. As you can tell, it's not been habited for about a year now. So there's just, a couple places with a little bit sediment, but nothing I would paint up, no scraping or anything like that. You got rustic type of barn door type style. What you can see there is the electrics, as I mentioned, it's just cabled in. So depending on how you are, I personally would have an electrician come and basically rewire the whole outfit. And I think you're going to have to, because I think it's on 12 volts and you're going to need 220 to run that beautiful kitchen of what you're thinking of doing. So this is to the right one in the entrance, another room. It's got a bit of, not mold, but a bit of dampness, but this house hasn't been opened. Actually, this room, the window's shut, so there is no airflow, so that's to be seen. I've actually spoken to Jawan and asked him about the roof. He believes it's about 15 years old, but it was done properly because I'm looking at the top of the ceilings and there is no darkness or mold or anything like that. So it's holding its time. Once again, type of barn doors. So that's 2 bedrooms there. We go back into the living room, making our way into the kitchen, which is a full renovation job. But the good thing is that it's already there as scraped. So basically it's just putting things right. As you can tell, the ceiling is of the old brick with the beams. So basically there we would need insulation and then plaster, false ceiling if you want, or keep the original. That's purely up to you. There's a junction with the cabling again that I spoke about. So that will have to be looked at. Once again, I would basically electrician. The floor, as you can see, the living room has the tile and then it stops. The kitchen just a cement plate. Okay. Once again, glass doors, double glazing. So a countertop which would go. As you can tell, the walls basically with some cementing and rendering, but never really finished off. And there's your old chimney stacks that they used to use in the old days, where you'd hang your chorizo and meats and stuff like that for drying, or a big fire and stuff like that. Ideally in this room and this next room that you're going to see off the kitchen, I would rip the whole thing down and create one big kitchen for you to be nice and happy and do all the little things that you're planning to do. Here they basically painted the cement tiles, and as you can see, the vigas, the posts, they painted them in brown to give it an aesthetic type of farmhouse. Another double glazed window with the bar system. This is kind of like an alcove. Don't know what it's used for. Oh, it looks like no, it's not a flute, but no, it's just an alcove. Probably like the old days where they put the candles and stuff like that. Here you'll see a bit of a boss job that they did. But it's no mold or anything like that, so basically it just needs to be rendered. Once again, little settlement cracks. You might not see it on this video, but take my word for it. So here basically it's just a drywall, render, and basically floors are good and paint away. Or you can do it where you have insulation and then ply and give it that smooth feeling. But cottage rustic always is great, but I would literally look into the fact of tearing that wall down and making the expansion of that kitchen so it's a nice size. Here you have like a wine cabinet, and I'm showing you from this side, so there's your stairs in here. Because this house has been built above ground, you'll notice that on the lower part there's a bit of dampness and everything because it basically doesn't have a lining. Okay, this house was built many moons ago. So there'll be, when we seal this off, we'll have to look at products that basically we weather in. But the great thing is you'll notice that below was for pigs or livestock animals and stuff like that. But going upwards, it's all dry. So that's good. The humidity is on the bottom, and that's because there is no insulation plaque when they did it. But we are talking a very old house. Do I see it being a problem? No. Once it's lived in, great with the cement roof and the vigas, which is the structural beams. You can make a really nice thing here, i.e. either a winery or a dining room or a pantry, cold storage, ideally. So going back into the kitchen, okay, we're going to be leading out to the back half, which you'll be able to see. Nice beauty around you. Surreal. The birds are beautiful. Absolutely fantastic around here. Behind these trees down below, there's an actual well. Needs a pump. Just to let you know, the two tanks, water tanks, and the pump off one of the dams the owners took off, and the solar paneling. So that's something we'd have to equate into the figures. Because you'd need either with the well, the water's the best. With the other two dams, if you're drawing off of there, you'll need a filtration system, and like I said, you'll need a pump and to put the two containers for the water tanks. So you septic into one and then filter into the other one and utilize that. All the piping's there, so we just need to make sure that it looks good. I've taken photos of it, so you'll be able to see that. Here is like an outdoor type of barbecue area, probably used in the old days for hangings of meat again, because as you can see, there's a nice hook there. So, good for prosciutto, parma ham, I should say, for you. And basically chorizos, any drying vegetables, potatoes, keeping all your fresh veg and everything. But once again, no water, so it's good. It's silly tight for an old house. Bit of mortar cracks there, but look, even my house has it because we live on seismic, as I've explained in the past, and I'm sure you're aware of it anyways because you do your homework. So it just needs some love and attention, and you're good. Now, as you can notice, this is aluminum siding to the top. It's in the front as well, so it's a covered area that they've done. But it's good. It's nice and tidy. It's got no damage to it, so that's good. Then you got an outdoor closet, toilet, which is basically needs to be refurbished to the utmost. And you'll have to look at a way to incorporate it into the house, because you don't want to be having to wake up at night and then walking outside to go to the bathroom. So it's up to you how you look at it. If you like al fresco, then you're good to go. If you don't, then the reality is we have to enclose this bathroom. These tiles are old. I can say that they're probably 1950s, or maybe a bit older or younger than that, but yeah, that will have to be repaired. And then you got the floor from the outside, which is in the back half of the kitchen area. Here we'd have to look, because it's supposed to be flat, it's caved in, so that would have to be repaired as well. Not to let water just sit there on the rain, even though they've got this aluminum canopy, as I mentioned. We'd look into that. Double glazed windows. And back to the kitchen. Okay, what I would predominantly do here, where the cellar is off the kitchen and you walk out, the actual bathroom walls here, okay? So I would actually look at opening that up and closing it from the outside and making it off the kitchen where your bathroom would be. Or while we're renewing the actual kitchen, is maybe find another area where we could add another bathroom to it. But that would be purely up to you, how you see fit. Joan says that he's got plans for this, so we can actually analyze the plans and the video drone that he's going to be sending over to me. All right, so back outside again. There's Joan. Rod. Okay, so this is the outdoor area, as you'll notice it. And you walk over to here, there's an outdoor type of shed. This area that I'm going to be walking to is, in the old days, they used to do the wheat, so they let it dry. The husk would actually fly away from nature, and they would then grind it into powder, so flour and stuff like that, for cooking or feed for the people. Here you have an outdoor building, which basically has eucalyptus, and above that eucalyptus is just the aluminum placking. There was a window there, but they've closed that in. So this leads to that other bedroom to the left when you walk through the living room. So it needs rendering and some love and care there, but it's more because of its open nature that it's taken the burden. This is that area that they use for the flowering and stuff like that. There's an old wash basin. There's a house on the outside. And here, that one is just a mortar crack. We'd have to scrape that out, re-cement it. Structurally from the inside it looks well, but like I said, you know, with all the tremors and everything like that, that's like a valley here. Down to the right hand side where that wall is, down below is where the actual well is. They used and didn't use, but it needs a pump, and he believes, Joan said, it's about 3 meters in depth. The actual ponds, which they call dams, which I had to explain to him that isn't, are actually 5 meters in depth, even in the driest of this last year. And they were still 2 meters. So there's ample water to do the irrigation and whatnot. So it's nice and picturesque. Going through the bushes here, so you can see below there where my Jeep is. There's one of the ponds. It's full, lots of water. To the right of us, that's that land that was 105 hectares. So basically off the roadway, it starts where that water tanker was for the 105 hectares. to the left. It goes all the way down the road to the other property, the roadway. It's part to the right, all the land, and then it goes onto the hillside. There you go. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this video off, and then I'm going to create another video, and I'll walk the land to show you the other parts of the actual dam. Or actually, while these guys are talking, you can come for a walk with me. So this is off the front door. You're going up. There's an old bread oven outside. This is that other overhanging that was done in aluminum. It's nicely done. No damage or anything. Looks brand new. Here's some more settlement cracks off the wall. But like I said, there's no infiltration inside the actual rooms. So it's just basically scraping those out, rendering, using a Weber. And then you're good to go. The new products now will support that property. There's a telephone post by the tree. Okay. Here we have some information. You can have ADSL telephone line. And the other guy that used to own this, there's a hillside flat that at one point had an ability to build a 200 square meter house. The project was approved, but then no one did anything. So if they proved it once, the reality is they'll probably do it again. And then if we walk down here, which is the back side of the house, okay, so it's the back porches, where that winery was that I spoke of. That's the plumbing system for the toilets and waters and whatnot, which has a septic tank that has to be cleared once a year, but to be reality, it depends on the use. You probably get away because there's an overflow that goes down. Down here, right smack 12 o'clock, if you look, that's one of the wells, okay? So that well, if we put a pump in and connect it, you can actually bring natural drinking water, which is better than the ponds. And the ponds, you're going to need to have actual filtration system through the tanks. So you take the water, put it into the one tank, and then go into the other tank. And then you'll have drinking water. The slope on this land is good, how they've done the piping. As you can see, the piping is, going all the way through. They've got connectors and everything like that. It's done properly where it's around the whole property for just the fires and also for vegetation and everything that you would want to do. So there you go. On this land there's pine trees, cork trees, madronia trees. That's a nice pine for you. Coming up here to the right of the property, you're going to notice a little shed. It's a storage area where they would keep all their tools and whatnot. So and then as you see, that telephone line there. So there you go, there's that shed. And you walk up this pathway. Once again, there's the tubes going on to the land. This is the tubes that come off this pond to actually bring you down the water for irrigation, drinking water and stuff like that. This looks like they were trying to create something. There's a stone there that's older than the brickery that's here, so somebody was doing something, but basically never did anything because it's got an old ruin wall. So how they got access to be able to do something on the flatter part of this land, which is on one of the peaks, is utilizing that space to grant them to build in a different district. So we could look into that if that's of interest. Remember, it's 200 square meters. Here's the other second pond, right? quite good, 5 meters in depth, never runs out of water. There's actually fish in it. Okay. As you can tell, there's a house up there. You got a neighbor. Looks pretty nice house. Okay, so this would be where the actual one of the pumps was, and then up here to the left they had the tanks. Like I said, those were removed, so was the pump, so that's something we'll have to look into in costing. And then this carries on. And then carries up that way. And then coming back down, there's the house. Okay, the mountainside of the other one, which was the 105. And between the trees and the Brussels, you'll see the other pond. All right, champ, be safe, be lucky.